Welcome to this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast, where we look forward to shaving every day. Welcome to episode 124 of the podcast. My name is Rick Deweese. I'll be your host this week. Okay, so this week we start off with an email from Mike, specifically talking about shimming single-edge blades. Good information, stuff I really hadn't thought about. I think I kind of knew it, but I never really thought about it. Then we jump into the Thursday shave of the day, and with a little bit of anticipation, and I'll tell you why and what I've been doing. I thought I was free. Turns out I wasn't. Doggone it. Talk about Friday shave of the day. Get a spine. Yep, I have to take my single-edge blade to the chiropractor, get it adjusted. Good stuff. All right. Ran into a blog by Liesureguy talking about the Kraken razor. We'll link to that. Weekend shaves of the day. A straight razor grind guide and discussion by Joe over at Shave Straight and Safe. We'll link to his blog. And as always, you can hear him on Wet Shaving News from time to time. Tuesday's shave of the day. The political season and what it reminds me of. The Wednesday shave of the day. And then finally, are you of good humor? If not, you might want to try it. It's a lot of fun. Anyhow, let's get on with this show. I got an email from Mike. He says, I follow your podcasts and find them interesting and informative. I have interest in single-edge razors as you do. Your recent podcasts have delved into shimming of blades for gem single-edge razors. The thickness of blades has changed over time as modern blades are thinner than vintage blades most older vintage gems were designed for. If you look at shaving instructions for older gem razors, you will notice the face of the head is to be held flat against the face. This is not the proper angle for modern spined blades. The correct angle for modern blades is to hold the angle slightly away from your face. You can compensate for the thinner thickness of modern blades by shimming with half a spine of a modern single-edged blade and shave at the angle older gem razors were designed, with the head against the face. I am not sure this works for later gem-designed razors of the 50s and 60s like the featherweight. They may have been designed for modern gem blade thicknesses. Here's a link with a photo of how to compensate or how to make the compensating spline. I find it makes shaving the gem a little more zippy and fun to shave with the razor at a more proper angle it was designed to be used. And he gives a link to the Badger and Blade forum, and you have to go down. There's down at post number 9. You start at post number 1, scroll down through them to number 9, and you get to the pictures. You may well already be aware of this adaptation. If this is the case, never mind. Keep up the good work. Regards. Okay, so first off, Mike, I wasn't aware. I think I knew that instinctively just after having looked at the different blades, but I never thought about the consequences of that. I never thought that that was in fact the overall impact and effect. I have some old blades, so that's interesting. So I will put first off, thank you very much for the email. Great information. I'll put a link to that Badger and Blade thread so that others can take a look at those pictures and follow along with that thread and see if it's something they're interested in playing in. I find that, quite honestly, after this week's playing around with the splined feather blade, being able to play around with single-edged blades and do different things with them, that is fun. So thank you for adding to the fun. So let's talk about the shave of the day. Okay, the shave of the day on Thursday morning was, well, anticipated. That's the best way to say it. So the other day, I got an email, and Randy sent me a thing about how to take the spine off of a single-edged blade, a normal single-edged blade, and attach it to the feather spineless and thereby getting a spined single-edged blade, well, that's made by feather, that can be used in single-edged razors, such as my Damascene and my Featherweight and my Ever-Ready and my Star, and just, oh, yeah, good stuff. So I got to admit, while I was doing the podcast last night, while I was putting it all together, doing the final edits and all of that stuff, I was actually sitting there pulling the spine off of an old single-edged razor so that I could use it this morning on a feather blade. So, with much anticipation, I jumped in the shower and jumped out, grabbed my Pleason brush, because I didn't know how much hot water my sons were going to leave me, and proceeded to lather up my puck of Cadet soap, unscented, and stuck the spine on the feather spineless blade, and yes, indeedy, it did a great job. It was easy to do. It wasn't very difficult. The spines, apparently, it looks like they're made out of aluminum, and so very easy, very malleable, very easy to manipulate. Held the blade well, and I didn't spread it really wide, so I just popped it enough so that I could get it off. And so that may have made a bit of a difference. I don't know. But, it, went on easy. Great, easy to do again. Went ahead and slipped it in my Damascene gem razor. Lathered up. 3-pass shave. Oh my gosh. Feather single edge. Feather single edge cutting bliss. Oh, jeez. In my Damascene. Wow, you want to take a great razor and make it fabulous? That'll do it. Yeah. Now, the other thing that's interesting is that as I pulled the blade off of my single edge last night, I noticed that the cutouts in the single edge blade are similar. I'll have to check if they're the same. I don't think they are, but I'll have to check. See if they're the same so I can put one of my carbon blades in my Autostrops. Yeah. So I may be playing around with single edge for this week, but it's all good. It's all exciting, and that's what makes this hobby fun. You kind of mix and match and experiment and play, and just makes me look forward to waking up in the morning. I mean, when you got to deal with the humdrum of work, getting ready, doing all this, stress, and or you get to deal with, gee, can I finally figure out how to use a feather single-edged spineless blade in my Damascene razor? Ooh, what would you rather do? Yeah. I'm thinking that's what I'd rather do just about any day of the week. Anyhow, great shave this morning. That's the way to start off the day. Well, I celebrated on Saturday evening because, lo and behold, the primary season was past. Unfortunately, I was mistaken. Because, lo and behold, my state, in its infinite wisdom, has a split primary. The Republican primary is on one date, and the Democratic primary is on a completely different date. So while I have gotten away from the robocalls and the ads of the Republican side folks beating and bashing and harping on each other and calling to say how they're the greatest, I now have to deal with the ads and stuff on the Republican side of Hillary and Bernie going back and forth and telling me how they're the greatest and, bashing each other. And, gosh, I just want it to be over. Jeez. I wonder if Schick and Gillette felt like that during their heyday, going back and forth for the population, for the market share of razors, It's like, how do you become a marketing guy, and an ad guy when that's what you live. I mean, I'm just sitting out here listening to it, and I'm getting tired of it after about 4 weeks or so. I can't imagine an ad guy, or some marketing guy that does that full time. I mean, after a while, do you get tired of your own shtick? I don't know. It's curious. It reveals a lot about human nature, about the fact that, we respond more to mud being thrown than positive things being said, which is a curiosity to me. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if we have a hard time walking out of the house, in good humor and good cheer in the morning, is it any wonder that we look around and we associate with people throwing mud at each other? Oh, goodness. I don't know. It's just a curiosity. It truly is. And one of those, yeah, it's like a social experiment, and every now and then you just kind of gotta step back and maybe get outside the terrarium so that you can look inside and see what the turtles are doing. It's sometimes I like to do that, but it is just curious. It is a curious nature of human beings to thump on each other. I try not to do that, but oh well. Just one of those thoughts for the morning. All right, let's drive down the road and I'll talk about the shave of the day. Okay, so let's title this one, Get a Spine. All right, so I have been playing with a feather spineless blade, and I pulled one of the spines off of one of my PAL carbon steel blades, an old used one, and put it on the feather stainless. Now, yesterday I used it in my gem Damascene to great effect. I mean, wonderful combination. Holy cow, it was everything that I could have imagined. So, good stuff there. Today, I attempted to put it in my gem featherweight. I attempted several times. I'm gonna have to look at the spineless, the feather spineless versus the carbon steel blade, the PAL without the spine on it. I don't think the little divots in the back of the blade are in the same location, because I think the blade is actually just a little bit longer from those reference points, if you will, on the feather. Because try as I might, it took me 5 minutes, probably around 5 minutes, to get the feather blade with a spine into the gem featherweight. It was just too long. I couldn't fit it in there. I was thinking, okay, something's misaligned, something's out of place, something's just not right. And so, it's one of those learning points. But I was able to do it in the end. I persevered, which, of course, is the underlying story with most of wet shaving. You succeed and usually have very good results when you persevere. So that was all good. Anyhow, so I lathered up the puck of Cat A that I've got unscented with my Samog 1305 and proceeded to shave. Pretty wonderful shave. Not too bad at all. A couple of spots under the chin where I could have probably gotten a little closer, but yeah, nice shave. Anyhow, I finished off the shave with some British Sterling, which I have received last week before last, and every now and then I'll go to that. That's one of the reasons that I went with the unscented soap, just so I could, enjoy the scent of British Sterling today. Anyhow, the tale of the whole story is, yes, you can put a spine from a regular DE blade onto the feather single-edged spineless. However, at this juncture anyhow, there are some potential issues with the alignment of that spine and getting everything into place correctly. So apparently I need to send my blade to a chiropractor, and we'll get onto that, and hopefully tonight or this weekend we'll have everything adjusted correctly, and the feather spineless blade will feel once again like itself in different and new razors. So it's all good, and it was a great shave. So I happened to be perusing, I believe it was Facebook, but it might have been Twitter. Anyhow, I came upon Liesureguy. Liesureguy at WordPress.com, and, or actually it's Liesureguy.wordpress.com, and he has just a real quick blog entry called The Kraken, a $22 3D printed slant. He said he learned of the Kraken slant bar safety razor, which you can order at the link for Shapeways, a print-on-demand manufacturer and fulfillment center. And that's why you have to provide your own machine screw to assemble. So he says he's ordered one, and he'll let us know when it arrives. But this thing is pretty cool. It's a 3D print. I'll put a link to both the his little quick blog on it, as well as the Kraken over there at Shapeways. Yeah, it's a cool little razor. I mean, you know, you think about it, being able to create things with 3D printers. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. In fact, right now, the price on the thing is $15.38 for a polished metallic finish, and they also have a white one available. And good stuff. I mean, $15.38 for a slant bar razor. I may have to get one myself. I mean, it looks pretty cool. It's got a unique, absolutely unique handle configuration. It's 3 pieces that are kind of like twisted. It's really cool. Anyhow, check it out. It's got a video on it, and yeah, good stuff. Well, I have had a couple of interesting shave of the days. Now, the other day I went ahead and I have put a spine on my spineless feather single-edge blade. Got a spine, I believe it's an aluminum spine, off of a PAL carbon steel blade, and proceeded to stick it on the feather blade. I've tried it in a couple razors. Well, this weekend I tried it in my shovel head. Now, for those of you that may not know, I enjoy the looks of my shovel head. I've always wanted a shovel head, and when I finally got it, I realized that it was not functional because the little clip in the back that in the back of the top cap that holds the blade in place and locks the top cap down was missing. It had broken off. So I looked at that and I went, crap. It's a pretty razor, but it is useless as a razor in its current format. So I was looking at it this weekend, and what I decided to do is I have some construction foam, some sheets of construction foam. It's really thin stuff. I actually use it to model shapes for leather work, because I can mold it around something, draw a pattern on it, and when I then wet mold the leather, it's pretty close. So this stuff is thin. It's it's probably, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch thick, and but it's plastic. It's a foam. I cut a small sliver of this stuff and put it behind the spine of the feather blade that I now have in the razor. And then when the top cap comes down, everything kind of holds in place, and it does hold the razor very very nicely in place. The only thing that it doesn't do that I found out is it doesn't hold the top cap in place. I have had a couple of incidents where, not paying attention, I swished the blade around in a salsa bowl full of water to rinse it off, and had the top cap open up and that little piece come out. So, well, there's still some more work, but at least with the razor that I have, I was able to experience a shovel head shave. Okay, so first thoughts. Holy cow. Beautiful, wonderful shave. Really good stuff. It's a very excellent little razor, at least the one that I have in the format that I'm shaving with it. The feather blade is no slouch. Now, I need to, by comparison, at some point, put a regular single-edge blade in it just to see how much of this good shave that I have is really and truly because of the feather blade. So it's been an experience. It was been kind of fun. But a couple of things I noticed. Number one, the razor itself with the feather blade is a bit aggressive. Not terribly so, but a bit aggressive. Put it a number 6 on the fat boy scale, if you will, maybe a 7. So it's a bit aggressive. And the other thing that's noticeable is that the handle on that thing is, well, in gem fashion, very short. And the head is, well, very large. And between the two of them, it feels it's a little off balance, at least in my, estimation. It seems to be just a touch off balance. Now, it maneuvers nice and everything. There are other handles that I enjoy better. It doesn't have a great grip, but hey, that's okay. It's still a pretty razor, and it is a very unique design. So, with all that being said, we lathered up some Cat A soap, some Puck soap, and shaved with the shovel head and the feather blade, and everything was good. Beautiful shave, wonderful shave. Didn't have any issues, no nicks or weepers or anything like that. I mean, it is a stark difference to some of the treat blade that I was using the other day, in that I have multiple shaves on this feather single edge blade, and no nicks and cuts and everything. But that treat blade, after a couple of times, it would kind of nick you up. So, finished off with some British Sterling, and in fact, I enjoyed the weekend shave so much that I actually used it again on Monday's shave of the day. And it is Monday today. It is a beautiful, balmy 60 degrees out here. But used it again, and that is where I kind of determined that, yeah, this setup is just, well, a tad aggressive now that I'm getting a little bit more used to it. It's not as... it's not as smooth. It's a little bit more aggressive. It's not quite as smooth as, say, my Damascene. Now, the other thing that's interesting is that the blade and comb configuration holds that blade edge back just a ways. I can get in a lot closer with my Damascene than I can with the shovel head. So why they went, it's curious. There seems to be a time in razor making, history, where they, evolved maybe the razors. Perhaps it was men getting away from straight razors and only knowing safety razors and cutting themselves up and not liking it. I don't know. There seems to have been an evolution in that the guards slowly migrated away from the edge of the blade. The Gillette News, the short combs, the long combs, the Damascenes, some of those, the 1912 style razors. They all seem to be, the blade itself, the edge of the blade seems to be fairly close as far as the distance between the edge of the comb or the safety bar or whatever there is. Seems to be very close, which allows you to get, close and tight in places like under the nose. But as razors evolved, it seems like they evolved into, a little bit further back so that you couldn't get quite as close. It's a smoother shave, and you don't have to worry, and it may be because people got lazy and had to worry less about angles with that distance being back just a little bit. But it's curious. Anyhow, good shave. Again, British Sterling, Cat A soap, all good. But just some observations, so far I am liking the fact that I can put a spine on a feather blade. I really am. I'm liking that a lot. I'm enjoying the fact that gives me a lot of, versatility and adaptability, I guess. So now my next step is I know that I can run, or I'm pretty sure that I can run a regular carbon steel in a VC1 auto strop. I just have to check and see if the little clips line up to see, because there have been some that do not, but I think I can run a PAL, because looking at the PAL, it's very similar to the feather as far as the notches in the back. So it'll be interesting to determine. I'll have to do that one of these days, is determine, okay, are the notches in the back in different places on different blades? And they may be. And if they are, that may answer some questions. Anyhow, all in all, good shave of the day. It's been a rough weekend. I'll tell you what. I had to work this weekend for my regular job, and after putting in about 10, 12 hours between Saturday and Sunday, it doesn't seem much like a weekend, but it's okay because I was able to get a couple of really, really good shaves in. So I'm also going to link to another blog post, Straight Razors Grinds Defined by Joe over at Shave Straight and Safe. It's a new post over there. Again, I'll link to it. He talks about the different grinds, the different blade cross sections and grinds on straight razors, whether that be full wedge, quarter hollow, half hollow, or full hollow. Now I've got I think I've got a full wedge, a quarter, and a full hollow, and there is a distinctive difference between all of them. Anyhow, it's a good read, and it'll give you a much better understanding of what the different types and varieties of straight razor grinds actually is. And it does make a difference. It's especially interesting if you go and start looking at these things at antique stores and flea markets and things like that. It's nice to know what it is you're holding, and to be able to discern whether or not the blade is in good shape. A full wedge is going to take a little bit more abuse and still be okay than, say, a full hollow. There's just more blade material there that can take a little bit of rough and tumble, whereas the full hollow, once it goes, is pretty much gone. But if you don't know that, you don't know what you're looking for. And so having a good understanding of what it is you're potentially purchasing or potentially using is always a good thing. Anyhow, go check out Joe over there at Shave Straight and Safe, and as always, you can check out Joe on the Wet Shaving News podcast, sponsored by Sharpologist, where he also does a great job. Well, it was a wonderful shave of the day today. Yes, today was once again another adventure with the feather spineless blade after I've given it a spine. Okay, so this time around what I did is I reached into my collection and pulled out an Ever-Ready, a very nice brass Ever-Ready single-edged razor, and shoved the now spined feather single-edged blade in it. Closed the top cap, and away we went. Now, went ahead and just to keep kind of the variables the same, I used a smog brush. This time it was my SOC brush, and still using my Cat A puck of soap to just kind of keep things, like I said, on an even keel and keep one of the variables the same, that being the lather. And went ahead and shaved with the Ever-Ready this morning with the feather spineless blade, which just is, something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Okay, the shave, yeah, Fantastic. Now, the one thing about the Ever-Ready is it's got, the top cap comes and only covers probably about 3/4 of the blade. And so there is a lot of blade that is exposed, nowhere near like an auto strop, but there is a lot of the blade exposed, and it's not held terribly rigid. This razor has a lot of audible feedback, which is unique to that particular razor out of all of my single-edged razors. And I found that the feather just, well, it sang. It really did. I mean, within that combination, it was wonderful. A wonderful shave. Very, very easy, rather effortless. I've got, I think, 4 shaves on that blade at this point. And just very, very nice. I am so absolutely well pleased. At this point, I'm really thinking that the single-edged razors with the feather blade, again, for me, because I made the comment that I enjoy the spined feather blade or the carbon steel PAL blades, and somebody wrote back and said, well, what about the gem stainless blades? And okay, they're nice blades and all, but for some reason, for me anyhow, they just don't feel quite as smooth. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get an absolutely beautiful shave out of them, but for me, and this is a very personal thing, I just don't find them to be as preferable. So, again, nothing wrong with any other blade choices out there. It's just that for me, having a spine on a spineless feather so that I can use it in my other single-edged razors is, well, nirvana. Shave nirvana of classic razors, at least again for me. It's wow, it's a great thing. I'm thoroughly enjoying the experience, and it did not disappoint this morning. And yeah, so I would rank that Ever-Ready up against most of them. It's just shy of what my Damascene can provide. And beautiful, beautiful shave. Now, just because I've used a soap that was scentless this morning, the Cat A Puck of soap, lather's great, by the way. But just because I used a scentless soap, it leaves everything kind of wide open in the land of fragrance for an aftershave. So I went down and reached in my box and pulled out the classic Avon Spicy that happens to be in a decanter that looks like an old Packard, and threw that on, and yeah, I'm ready for the day. It's good shave, smelling good. Yeah, life is looking up here. It's raining a little bit, but you know what? No big deal, because I'm walking out the house and yeah, feeling good. So on top of that, I needed to get something done this morning and was able to get that done. Things just, I don't know if it's the good Lord looking out for me, or if it's just the fact that, I start off with a good attitude and a shave, that things just kind of came together today. So at least so far. And so that's a good thing. It's I look forward to the days. I look forward to the mornings, kind of look forward to shaving, and just to see, well, what kind of an adventure am I going to start off with? Even though it's a small adventure. I mean, most people don't get excited about being able to put a spine on a featherless, on a feather blade. But, if you can start off with just a little bit of joy and happiness and experimentation first thing in the morning, instead of just waking up and being, oh gosh, God, it sucks. I got to have coffee and it's going to take me an hour to wake up. I don't start the days like that. I start the days like, okay, let's go. Let's, what are we going to do now? Let's try this, and then we'll try this other thing, and then maybe we'll try something completely different. And hey, this is kind of fun and unique, and, walk out of the house and good humor and cheer, and just looking forward to the day. So hopefully you can do that too this morning. And everybody deserves to start their day with an absolutely positive attitude. And the way I've done it this week is to, give a featherless blade a spine and, well, throw it in multiple different razors just to see what she'll do. Well, it is right at the absolute height of the Republican primary season here in South Carolina, and the political ads are flying. Oh my gosh, it's like a West Side Story knife fight. He said, she said, oh my God, he said this, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. He's lying. No, he's lying about me lying. It's like, he's lying about me lying about me lying. It just goes on and on and on. And I hate to say this, but, it reminded me, I was thinking about it, and it reminds me, unfortunately, of what goes on in some forums. Just the back and forth and the nitpicking and the drama. And after a while, you just kind of go, okay, I'm done. Shut off the TV, turn on Netflix. I just want to watch a movie, I don't want to watch any of this crap anymore. Oh, jeez. I'll tell you what, it's, it really is interesting. And of course, you got the same thing going on, just not at the same intensity all over the place, within marketing. This car's better than this car, and this car has this problem, and it's all marketing. It's all trying to persuade. It's all pushing in one direction or another. It's just, it's out there and it's everywhere, and it's just, you're just inundated with it. Of course, you walk outside and you see it out here, and at the end of the day, you feel like you want to take a mental shower just to, scrape the scum off of you. And that happens especially this time of year for us up here in South Carolina, who are asked to, use our best judgment and figure out who is supposed to be the best candidate while they're sitting there throwing mud at each other and bashing each other and just beating the heck out of each other and just, yeah, it's, I understand they're trying to differentiate themselves and just like products, they're trying to differentiate themselves, but, when you both have 4 blades in the cartridge and you both have the lubricant strip and you both have the pivot in one direction, yeah, there's not a whole lot left after that. You both cost an arm and a leg. Oh, gosh, and then when we do, pick somebody, then, of course, they try to sell you the can of goo to go with it. And meanwhile, in your heart of hearts, you know that, well, there's a better way, and a straight razor would do just a more fabulous job, and if you had a decent brush and, well, almost any kind of soap, it's just... You could really go into town and just, do the job right and not have quite the same level of anxiety all the time. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where you kind of stand back every now and then and go, golly, it's just, I understand politics has been around for a long time and they've thrown mud at each other at each other for a long, long time. It's sort of a tradition. But geez, it's, and then of course, after all that's done, after you beat each other up and rip each other apart, well, then, you're all supposed to collate around one guy or, one person, depending on if it's male or female, You're supposed to collate around one person, shake everybody's hands, and say, yep, it's all right. Holy cow. It's, yeah. I don't know. It really is weird, the systems that we put in place to do this, And we wonder why nobody wants to go in it. We wonder why we never get the best people. It's just, yeah, it's no wonder. Anyhow, like I said, unfortunately, it reminded me of forums every now and then, and that's one of the reasons I don't frequent forums. Don't go to places like Reddit, don't go to forums. I just kind of hang out on Twitter and Facebook. So, if you need to get me, send me a tweet. That's probably the best way. And, I typically respond. I look at it about 3-4 times a day. It's funny, I was showing my son, number of, the fact that I had Instagram. He couldn't believe it. He was absolutely amazed that I had as many followers as I do, and thank you for being out there, because that alone was well worth it, just to see the look on his face. Anyhow, if you find yourself inundated with too much politics, if you find yourself feeling just a little bit abused, dirty. It's just, it's kind of like sitting outside, picture a hotel in the Old West or something where they throw the slop out the window, and you unfortunately are right underneath that window. And every time a political commercial comes on, the slop comes out and covers you. Well, if you get to feeling like that, you might want to kick back, have an adult beverage, and maybe go have a good shave, just to, feel clean again. Well, it looks like the rains have slowed down a little bit, and it's not raining currently on the commute here in the mobile studio, so let's take the opportunity to talk about the shave of the day. Okay, so this week I have been spending time with my altered feather spineless blade. I put a spine on it, and I have been switching it around to several different single-edge razors. The one I used today was a star. And yes, it was in fact a star of a shave, a shining star of a shave. So I've got this old star razor that looks very much like a Gem 1912, and it looks really like almost a carbon copy, but instead of saying Gem on the back side of it, it says star. Okay, but other than that, it looks like it was made off of the same mold, same presses, same everything. Nice chrome razor. Anyhow, so I put the blade in it and didn't have any issues, no problems, fit in. It wasn't like the Gem Featherweight where things were, just a bit tight. Anyhow, lathered up again using the Cat A puck of soap, unscented, just to make sure that everything else being equal, I have no other variables in the mix. Lathered it up with my Samag Owners Club brush, and had a wonderful lather, and proceeded to shave. 3-pass shave with a little touch-up. BBS. Holy cow. Now, I do have some shaves on that razor, so I was in certain areas applying a little bit more pressure than you would with a new razor. And quite honestly, it's just something that I find myself doing, and mainly through the feel of the blade going across my skin, the resistance, I can tell, I say I can tell. It's not really something that I do consciously. But as time goes on with a blade, I find myself putting a little bit more pressure on to get the same level of closeness, if you will, in the shave. And, the first shave is virtually no pressure at all. Second shave, virtually no pressure. But then after that, I find myself, applying just a bit of pressure as I go to get equivalent shaves. So, interesting phenomena. It's just one of those things that I hadn't really thought about, but yes, in fact, I do find myself doing that. So, everybody says, "Ooh, no pressure, no pressure." Well, when you're starting out, yeah, when you're first going, yeah. Now, again, it's a feedback thing, and it's not, in the Everready that I used yesterday, it's an audible feedback. In the Gem, there is not really an audible feedback feature to that particular razor and blade setup. So, the only thing I can put my finger on is that I'm doing it by, feel. So anyhow, I thought I'd comment on that. So got the fourth or fifth shave on this blade, and 3-pass with a little bit of touch up, and yeah, good shave, very, very nice. No disappointments there. And so I was sitting there as I took a picture, throw that up on Instagram, but I was kind of sitting there thinking to myself that I am exceedingly happy with my blades and my razors, my single edge. And one of the things that I don't necessarily have to be concerned about is that the feathers are a stainless material, and I can actually leave them in the razors and not have to worry about rusting. You know, the issue with my other preferred blade is the carbon steel PAL blade, and I have to take it out of the razor and dry it off, or it will rust in the razor. And in order not to do any more damage to my razors, I choose to take them out and dry them off. So a little bit less of it's a little bit less finicky, you know, and it still gives a very, very super smooth and fine shave. The blade for me is exceedingly smooth. It's not a problem at all. Now, one thing I have noticed in the last couple of days is that on the 1912, on the Ever-Ready, I can't get, there's a great distance again between the edge of the blade and the edge of the open comb, and so I can't get close under my nose, even going sideways, because the blade hooks that protect the shaver from the very square corners of that single-edged blade, those blade hooks prevent me from getting exceedingly close. So on today's shave, I went ahead, shaved, 3 passes with a touch-up, and then did a quick touch-up under my nose with a straight razor, just because it's very easy to get to, and things just work well. So all in all, great shave. Finished it up with some British Sterling. Had some other things going on, and just looked across, and voila, there was the British Sterling just sitting there looking, regal, and decided to go ahead and grab it and go with that. So we're off on another day. The sun is peeking through the clouds and kind of matches my mood. It was a good night, but woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't get back to sleep. So, kind of a cloudy evening for me, and yet after the shave of the day, the sun is shining through. So it's all good, all because of a shave. So I overlooked these on last week's show. Okay, just so you know, I get emails, I get phone calls from time to time, Twitter messages, direct messages, chats, and I also get Facebook messages. And quite honestly, sometimes I forget to look. I forget to look who sent what and what I want to include the show. But I didn't want to leave these out. I had mentioned that I was going to put them on a show, and I need to do that. So this one's from Stephan. Hi, Rick. I hope everything with you is good. You mentioned in your last podcast that Darren at Wickham Soap Company is back. Just to let you know, here in the UK, we are fortunate to have 2 more artisan soap makers, which you may not know about. First is James Riley and his company, O.S.P, Obsessive Soap Perfectionist. The website is ospsoap.com. He started with 5 soaps around September of last year: bay rum, lavender, neroli, grapefruit, and menthol sandalwood, and has now added another 5 soaps. So fougere, barbershop, orange and patchouli, lemon and cedarwood, peppermint and rosemary. James also has in the pipeline matching splashes. The second is a very new, launching at the end of this month, February, which is called Phoenix, and beau website, and so it's phoenixandbeau.uk, run by Kerry Burrows. He has a handful of soaps to his name, such as lime and cedarwood, sandalwood, black pepper, and cardamom, peppermint, lemon, and rosewood, and also an unscented version. I hope you agree it's very exciting to see shaving soap makers popping up here in the UK. Thanks for taking the time to read this, just letting you know what's happening this side of the pond. Cheers, Stephen. Okay, so Stephen, first off, thank you very much for the Facebook message. I will put links up to this in the show notes, and then he also sent me a link because of my comments on some of my aftershaves. Let's see, Stetson, British Sterling, those, and he sent me a link to a YouTube channel for contrasting thoughts on the Stetson aftershave, and also, quite honestly, on the British Sterling. Although we do happen to agree on the Clubman, it's not too bad. And I don't have any English leather. I used to way back when I was a teenager, but yeah. And that's YouTube channel by Mr. G-Town Jake. And so I will link to that as well. And again, Stephen, thank you very much for the message. I also got a message from Mark, and he has put in a new installment, The History of Shaving, Part 8, The History of the Shavette. And so we will link to that and add that to the many histories of shaving video series that we have linked on the blog post. As always, Mark does a great job, and yeah, good stuff. So check it out, and thank you very much for the link. Let's talk about, well, good humor. Do you have good humor? Now, by that, I mean, can you laugh at things? Or are you so just wrapped up in just everything that you really don't find humor in anything? Do you just, are you of good humor? First off, I try to be. And sometimes, yeah, I do have to try. The thing that I found, though, is very much like wet shaving, is that as I try, as I work at it, it becomes, well, easier and easier. And it gets to a point where I can find humor in just about any situation. You know, and the sad thing, the sad thing is I run into people and they're upset about stuff that is, well, for all intents and purposes, very minuscule, and sometimes even, I would dare say, meaningless. And they are just absolutely wrapped around the axle about it, and quite honestly, I can look at the same situation and, well, kind of find humor in it. Not, I don't mean to be demeaning or anything like that, but if I was in their shoes, I could see some humor in it and essentially laugh it off. It's an interesting thing that I've found, is that I'm more effective when I am of good humor. Yes, I understand there are stresses in life and things like that, but at the same time, if you can go through life with, well, maybe not a full-fledged smile, but at least a grin on your face, you'll have a better time. It's a lot more fun. People want to be around you because, well, you're of good humor. If you ever want to try an experiment, try walking down a hallway full of people and try it one time with a frown on your face and not really looking at anyone. And then the next time, try it with a smile on your face, looking at everybody in the eye, trying to see if they get the joke. And what you'll find is that the people that connect with you when you have a smile on your face and you look like you're, well, being just maybe a tad mischievous, is a lot more than if you walk around with a scowl on your face. Now, the way, at least for me, to approach life and ensuring that I have that grin, well, is to be of good humor. And I find that I laugh about things, I enjoy things, I enjoy life, I enjoy seeing life, experiencing life, interacting with people, even some of them that I really don't like. I sit there, I was in a meeting yesterday, and I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, my gosh, this is a waste of time. These people are so unorganized. They should have been doing this 6 months ago. But at the same time, I'm smiling because I'm actually understanding that. I have a potential advantage because I'm sitting here going, okay, I understand and I see in these folks the need to be better organized, and I recognize that I am. And so in order to stay ahead of that, can I keep on going a little bit further and a little bit further? And wow, isn't this great that I can sense this and I can see this and I can actually use it to my advantage. And yeah, so I'm walking around with kind of this mischievous grin on my face because it's almost like I know the rules of the game and well, ahead of time. It's, sometimes it seems like cheating. And it's a curiosity. It truly is. I find that being of good humor has given me a number of advantages. I can talk to people very easily when I am of good humor and have meaningful and pleasant interactions with them that are very beneficial. Now, at the same time, if you have that same interaction with somebody and you're either neutral or negative, they usually don't go as well. They usually don't transpire as easily, and you walk away just, feeling bad. I walk away from conversations feeling good. And I think, this is just my opinion at this point, but I think the reason is because I am approaching life with, a different attitude, and that is an attitude of good humor. And it has helped. It truly has. It has truly helped. Yes, things, catastrophes happen, You get in a car wreck or something. Okay, can you at least be of good humor in the fact that, hopefully no one got hurt, or if there were people hurt, that it was minimal, or if someone was hurt, at least you have a phone to call for help and somebody is on their way and arriving and there are other people that are assisting or whatever. There's always, it's very similar to, looking for that silver lining that, tales of old used to tell about. And, I bought a razor on eBay and there was a piece on the inside of it that was broken that, for the most part made the thing unusable. That's okay. It's still an absolutely beautiful razor. It's a beautiful example. And because of the price I paid, I can be of good humor about it. Yeah, it's got some issues, but that's okay. It's all good. It's, I might be able to fix it someday. It's just curious. I find myself, I laugh more. I enjoy life more. I just have a better time. And you've probably heard me on the air, when I'm talking about something, half the time I find humor in it. I find laughter in life. And I enjoy that aspect. I truly do. I enjoy that aspect of being able to find laughter in life, because to me, that's one of the reasons that we're here, is to, enjoy the experience. If you're not enjoying the experience of your own life, potentially an issue. Anyhow, the reason that I wanted to say this is that I have found myself just being of good humor of late, and it seems that it's almost catching. It seems that once started, it's difficult to stop. It's like, okay, you're on a roller coaster ride, you're having a good time, and it doesn't end. It just keeps getting better and better, and the hills that you're climbing are bigger, and you go down faster, and the curves are tighter, and it's just more fun the more and more you go. I don't know where it will end, and I hope it doesn't, but at the same time, it's one of those things where if you can approach life with good humor, I think you'll have a more enjoyable experience. And so I would suggest that if you haven't tried it in a while, or if you haven't tried it at all, give it a shot. stick with it for a while. Get it to the point where, very much like shaving, it becomes, well, habit. Very much like, well, say, shaving with a straight razor. You know, your muscle memory exists in that you find humor in things. Same can be said for double-edged and single-edged coming out of, the cartridge world. There takes a little bit of practice to get the angles right. Well, it takes a little bit of practice to face life with, well, good humor. And don't get stressed out about things, because in the long run, people will not remember. And I saw this the other day, and I thought it was very prophetic. People don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. And if you approach life with good humor, if you laugh and have fun and just enjoy the existence, you make them feel better about you and better about themselves. And they will remember that experience. I'm convinced. I am absolutely convinced. And, well, I thought I'd share it, because I think it was worthy. Well, that concludes this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you have some suggestions or would like a topic covered, drop me an email at brushandsoapandblade@gmail.com or give me a call at 864-372-6234 or contact us on Twitter at Brush and Blade. You can also visit us at our blog, brushandsoapandblade.wordpress.com. As always, we're available on iTunes and Stitcher.